Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Paradoxic, and welcome back to Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This time we're on episode 6 of season 4. Last time we had a bit of a prison break. The team had to go into the prison to actually track down Eli Morrow, since Lucy and her team of merry ghosts were on the hunt for him, because they needed like an actual living person. They found out that ghosts could not in any way access the dark code, and it wouldn't actually be available to them to read. And the dark code works by analyzing you as a person and then showing you the information that you need at any given time in your kind of most well-known language. So for Joseph, his first language was actually German, so when they found it way back when, before they started the experiment, they actually found the dark code and it showed up for her in English and then for him in German, so that was cool. So as a ghost, Lucy discovered that she actually could not. Lucy discovered that she actually couldn't access the dark code. She couldn't actually read it. It would show up for like a second, and then it would disappear straight afterwards. So because she was dead, the dark code does not work for dead people. So she had to actually kidnap Eli and actually bring him on. Through threat of some force. She kidnapped him, and then he opened up the dark code, and it worked for him. So that was neat. So now going forward, I think now we should see exactly. Because the dark code gives you knowledge, but I don't know if it can actually do any kind of further kind of manipulation of the reader beyond that. I'm really interested. I'm really interested to know that if it can actually further manipulate the person reading into doing what they want, because it gives them the information, but then what they do with the information is actually up to them, as well as what information they see is also up to them. So like with scientists, they would see presumably like really advanced like fields and information from physics or whatever, and for the team, like, they got information that allowed them to build a quantum particle generator. So this one, I think Lucy's made it clear from like pretty much like the first episode onwards, or the second one, that she was going to use the book again, but to actually bring her and her team back to life. Well, the ones that were left anyway, So for her main objective is, I think, actually coming back to life and everything. So we'll see exactly how that goes down. But we saw that. We saw the team. Daisy Daisy somewhat kind of working back in with S.H.I.E.L.D., like her actually pushing Coulson and May to safety while she opted to take on the prisoners who were after her and everything. And then a whole lot of very, very distant, dysfunctional kind of family stuff going on with her. Still kind of even at the end, her insisting that after all this was done, she was still going to go away and be her own person, be her own Quake and everything, be her own Quake and everything, and then that she still wasn't willing to come back to S.H.I.E.L.D. or anything like that. So we'll see how it goes for now. I think I think now, right now, they're still I think Daisy especially right now is still kind of under that kind of mindset of she still needs to pay penance, she still needs to keep her distance, she still needs to be her own. To be on her own, rather, for now. So we'll see as the episodes go on, how much further she can get from S.H.I.E.L.D. and the team before she realizes that they are still her family. She still needs to be with them, and they're still, they want what's best for her. They they actually want her to come back to them and to actually be okay with the past and move into the future and everything. So I guess we'll see. We will see. But she has new gauntlets. Daisy has some awesome new gauntlets that Simmons made for her. She has I think maybe a new suit. I'm not entirely sure on the suit. I think maybe like a new suit, but definitely shinier, bigger new gauntlets that help her and everything. So those are really, really cool. So we had that, the prison break, and Daisy. We had Mace coming out as an Inhuman on live TV. I think he was on a kind of conference thing with some news anchor and sent an idea, and he had Simmons in his ear just feeding him science and kind of statistics and all that kind of stuff, and then eventually Nadia kind of pushed him inadvertently. She actually pushed him to actually come out as an Inhuman and to explain that was why he was the best man for the job of being the director of an agency that now is sworn to protect Inhumans and humans alike. So he came out as that, and then his poll numbers went up. Surprisingly enough, his poll numbers actually increased and more people came out in support of him, so that was super cool to see. But what wasn't cool to see was right at the very end, Nadia actually discovering S.H.I.E.L.D.'s kind of very shaky alliance with Quake and Ghost Rider in the prison, and Ghost Rider having killed a man as well. Robbie actually found the man in there who was actually part of the same gang that shot down him and Gabe, and then put Gabe in a wheelchair at the end. So he found the one last man responsible for that, and then he actually found out that it wasn't just like a drive-by or an accidental kind of hit and run thing. It was an actual coordinated and kind of ordered hit and everything. So now I think he has to actually go out and find out who really did it, but then he still managed to take out that one guy in prison. That scene, I'll never get over it. It's one of the most badass scenes I've seen in this show. Ghost Rider killing that dude, and then as he walks out, as Ghost Rider himself walks out with a flamethrower and everything, and he walks down the hallway, all the prisoners just actually lock themselves back up in their cells. He is the ultimate security guard. Him and Punisher are the ultimate forces of security and kind of criminal deterrence. So that was super fun to see. But Nadia actually found out about S.H.I.E.L.D. working with Daisy and with Ghost Rider in the end too, and she actually threatened to leak photos of these allegiances, especially, you know, like with Daisy having now become Quake and being in the news in such a controversial manner, and Ghost Rider being Ghost Rider, like her knowing that, you know, that he was the one responsible for that death, and threatened to release those allegiances, and, you know, threatened to, you know, shake S.H.I.E.L.D. even more and shake their reputation even more. So now I think hopefully now we'll actually find out what she wants in exchange for keeping that stuff secret. Probably nothing good, because she stands, you know, pretty strongly against Inhumans and with the Watchdogs too. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see exactly what she wants. And I think, especially with Mace now being known as the Inhuman leader of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think it's nothing. It's likely nothing reassuring, likely nothing good. So I guess we shall see. But that was cool. And Simmons had her lie detector thing going on, and she kind of went in knowing what to do and what not to do. She knew about like micro expressions and littlest kind of things that could, you know, catch out on lie or be like a tell or something. So she knew going in, you know, how to be, and then Mace saved her just before she was going to be caught out on a lie with the polygraph, and then he actually opted to send her back in, given how much of a help she was. But then she caught him out on a lie, so she caught him out on a lie while he was actually coming out as an Inhuman, and I think some of the facts mentioned about him were that he was actually still like a heavily kind of politically and socially involved kind of member of the US government, but then that he was also present at the UN Vienna explosion that we see in Captain America Civil War. So apparently he was there, but then she even specifically mentioned that, like, the Vienna incident, and said that, you know, that part's not true. So I think, yeah, I mean, you know, she said, oh, then I would have to tell the truth about you and what you said, but then we know that you didn't tell the truth. So she didn't specifically, you know, highlight that he's a liar, but just kind of gave him that kind of subtle indication, like, oh, I know the truth. I know that you lied. I don't know what the truth is, but I know you lied. So, you know, if there's one other thing I'm looking forward to in this season, it's definitely finding out more about who Jeffrey Mace is, how he came to be, and a bit more of what his past is, and what kind of leader he hopes to be. But so far he seems nice enough, and he seems kind of like to have like an interesting history and everything, so I guess only time will tell. But yeah, that is pretty much all I've got from the last one. So on to episode 6. Looking forward to seeing what they got in store. But in terms of reaction, this one will only be the fair use version, so just like cut down to just the highlights of the reaction in the episode itself. So if you guys want to catch the full length version, that one will be over on Patreon, so you can go check that out over there. There'll also be like a link in the comments below, so make sure to check that out. But yeah, on to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4, Episode 6. Let's go. What is that?
Carbon.
Carbon?
Impossible.
It created carbon.
Create complex compounds and then organic materials, wheat, rice. I mean, who knows? Maybe we can even end starvation.
So wouldn't that count as genetically modified food then? Because it's not organically grown, it's just created from randomness?
Maybe we can see it.
It's mine. You just do whatever I tell you to do. Everything's gonna work out fine.
Someone's possessive? Yeah, my dark code. Go get your own dark code. God, if everyone had a dark code of their own, the world would be in literal chaos. That's what would happen.
Agents down.
Oh boy. Yeah. Again, one dark code creates chaos already. Yeah, one dark code.
She needs him to do something she can't.
What? Show her face without scaring children?
Oh my god, mate.
So she needs a new place to work. We need to find her before someone else gets hurt.
Agent Simmons, I'm sure you
I
can
love a new
appreciate
suit.
cooperation
Yeah.
with the US government.
Just up as like a lighter blue.
as we begin
Yeah,
a
that's
new
really
era.
cool.
I can do the math. The night's your way, the blood in your clothes, now this?
Does he know he's the Ghost Rider?
It's just
Wait, does he know he's the actual Ghost Rider, or does he think he just beats people up?
A secret agent?
Yeah, he doesn't know he's
You
the
know, he
Ghost
wanted
Rider.
to, but
Yeah, I was about to say, like,
he took an oath.
Ghost Rider would be a stretch, but him going out and punching
Well, it's
people,
a
that would be,
secret.
you know, believable. Secret Agent Robbie Reyes. It has a nice ring to it, you can't lie, it has a nice ring to it.
The Inhuman known as Quake, an
Oh.
enhanced individual who can control fire.
I'm here to take them into custody.
Oh, god damn it,
Better be
Mace. Oh, jeez. So if he captures them and apprehends them ahead of time, then there's nothing for Nadir to release. Like, oh, they're not working with them, now we've arrested them. Yeah.
Well, it's not a wild goose chase if there are geese. Do you deny they're on board?
Geese? I have 0 geese. We are goose free.
Find them.
I mean, to be fair, they could just tell them we don't have Quake, we have Blossom. That would also work. That would work, yeah. No Quake, just Blossom. Just a Blossom, you know, pre-Blossom.
Everybody loves Han Solo. Rebel, rule breaker, lone wolf.
Personally, I always felt that Admiral Akbar was the unsung hero. A strategic military man who led combat ops against the Empire.
Is that how you see it, Phil?
And he made sure when everyone knew it was a trap, he would tell people it's a trap. He made sure everyone was alerted.
The legal system sentenced him to prison. Not to death.
No, the Ghost Rider sentenced him to death.
Phil.
Yeah.
Okay, but you are not helping with my homework. Need to get an A.
Oh god, they are such brothers. Yeah, such brothers. So this must be, yeah, this must be the accident then. So I'm curious, like, how he got the Ghost Rider thing then. Like, who did he meet? Who did he see?
You worried about her safety, or are you two going through something?
Both.
Not sure, maybe both.
Both, yeah. I know my Fitzsimmons, they're going through both. Oh. Oh! Jesus! Oh god, gay, oh jeez.
I couldn't move. I saw you.
Oh, and Robbie got thrown out of the car, Jesus.
Director hasn't found you know who and you know who.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Right, me neither.
Great subtlety, guys. Yeah, great subtlety.
Am I? It was the Good Samaritan.
The Good Samaritan.
I had a motorcycle pull up.
Whoa, who's this? Is this Mephisto? I don't know why I keep thinking Mephisto's gonna show up, but is it Mephisto?
Safety.
No, is
Went
this...
over to you.
Don't tell me this is another Ghost Rider, maybe? On a stretch, it's Mephisto. On a not stretch, it's another Ghost Rider.
I begged the universe, I begged anyone who would listen that you be spared.
Oh, he begged, he
Would
gave...
I give anything to save you?
He swore his soul. He swore to give his soul.
But it wasn't a good Samaritan.
Who was it?
It was the devil. Whatever was inside him.
Another Ghost Rider! It's another Ghost Rider!
Ghost Rider. You killed all those locals.
God, oh, wait, which Ghost Rider was that then? Was that Johnny
That
Blaze?
wasn't me.
Could that have been Johnny
Thing
Blaze?
inside me. It's not me they need to be afraid of. It's the other guy. And he wants out.
Oh, the other guy, he's going Incredible Hulk, Ghost Rider style. Oh, he's getting hot. He's getting hot and heavy. Oh boy. Oh my god.
Skull on Fire presents a pretty compelling argument for Hail Satan.
Most sophisticated compound that S.H.I.E.L.D. has.
Not against the Ghost Rider. Oh boy. Oh.
Not possible.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Really, you want to see your hellish brother fighting the director of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Come on, Robbie, you're still in there. You're still in there. Oh. Oh, it's good to see the returning animation too. It's good to see the returning, yeah, the humanization. Oh.
Whoever created this tapestry of security nonsense is a total wanker. Honestly, even with the signatures, do you know how hard it was for me to find someone with a Roy G. Bev clearance just so I could unredact these files?
Would you like to pretend to be outraged, or can we get to it?
Frustrated that
Oh
nobody's listening to
my
our
god, I've
cylinders.
never heard him call someone a total wanker.
Anyway, it looks like Agent
I need to hear that more often.
Peggy Carter and her team
I need to hear that more
back to
often.
He's a murderer who attacked us and threatened to take down this entire plane if we didn't cede to his demands. How is that not a terrorist?
It sounds a little Fox News to me, but you're not wrong.
Joe got what he deserved. My nephew's in a wheelchair because of those thugs he hired.
Oh, Joseph hired them.
I don't even know what this project's goal is anymore.
Unlimited power.
We no longer need a machine to generate it.
Unlimited
Joe's
power.
trying to generate matter himself.
Think of all the good that we can do. We're not just creating elements.
I can't hack in or shut down the plant's operating system from here.
Well, you're out of practice. Too much punching, not enough hacking.
Very funny. No, I can't hack in because their system isn't on
A little bit
network.
of shade from
It
Fitz.
predates the internet.
There's the book. There's the dark code. You grab that thing and get out of here. Yeah.
You're the only one I trust.
Okay, May with the dark code. Great.
Can you help me dismantle it?
Yes, of course. But why would I? When it's taken me this
Eli?
long to achieve.
Eli, what? What are you doing? Does he want unlimited power now? Oh, good God, Eli.
You weren't against Joseph getting the power. You just wanted it for yourself.
Goodbye, Lucy.
Oh, he wanted unlimited power all along. He was the real Palpatine. Jesus, Eli. And now Lucy's gone. Great. So now it's just the uncle you have to sort out. Can't believe that twist. Yeah, Eli was the one villain all along.
I beat the hell out of him. He never gave up where he hid that book. Listen, if I were you, I'd get the hell out of here.
Jesus, how did he end up like this though? That's what I'm curious about. Like, he doesn't even seem like he would want that. Oh no. Oh, everything's really bright. Everything's really bright. What did that do? Whoa, Fitz is gone! Whoa, Coulson's gone! And is Eli gone? He's created carbon! He can create where did Fitz and Coulson go? Where the hell did Fitz and Coulson go? That... Okay, that is an ending and a half. That is an ending. Okay, so yeah, that was a very interesting episode, full of flashbacks, full of, you know, back in the day, so many days to turn back to, so many days. And yeah, this was incredibly fun to see, very, very fun to see. So I'm going to start off with the Ghost Rider stuff. I have to touch on the Ghost Rider stuff. We got, you know, an episode full of, you know, again, you know, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does it again exactly the way we like it, actually, you know, teasing us with some verbal narration first, and then a few episodes down the line, some visual storytelling that actually ties everything together and actually, you know, kind of feels like payoff to our imaginations and everything. Like, it very much feels, I think for me at least, it feels somewhat similar to actually reading like a book first and having to imagine everything playing out like a movie, and then finding out years later that, you know, that they're actually adapting it into like a live action thing or something. I mean, obviously adaptations aren't always going to be 100% great, but still it feels like some kind of payoff to, you know, imagine like to being like left with your imagination for a while until they actually let you see like a more official rendition of it. So this was cool. This was very, very cool. So we actually find out exactly how the car accident with Robbie and Gabe went down and how he got his powers and everything. So yeah, I think I'm gonna say it right. I feel like I might need to apologize for the Mephisto stuff. Like, again, like I feel like, you know, had had Mephisto actually had some kind of cameo or involvement in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., for one thing, we would never hear the end of it, because he's a big character, and especially for them to introduce him in the TV show would be a big thing. And you know, for nothing, that's exactly what's going on with the Disney Plus shows right now, with the Disney Plus shows right now, like with WandaVision, people are going like, oh, we're going to see Mephisto in this episode, oh, we're going to see Mephisto in the next episode, oh, we're going to see Mephisto in the next episode, and all that kind of stuff. And even I think it became such a common thing, and even the showrunners themselves kind of, you know, inadvertently teasing big cameos, and Paul Bettany, you know, teasing himself as a cameo, but then leading other people to think it was going to be someone else. People thought, oh, we're going to finally see Mephisto, and like the Darkholds involved, so we're going to see something crazy going on there. But no Mephisto, nothing here or there. But then even then, because of people's persistence in insisting that, you know, Mephisto was going to show up and tie everything together and introduce a whole new thing, you know, people are still going. Even in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you know, like certain people, not going to mention any names, think that Mephisto will be showing up. But no, I think for this one, because even in the actual Ghost Rider movie, like, Mephisto himself did show up. I mean, for the movie, it makes sense. For that kind of budget, they have the option to actually tell that story more accurately and to use more source material. But for this, yeah, it went a bit differently. So Robbie actually, so with this one, I like that it wasn't just for the sake of having some backstory. It was actually Robbie himself actually coming to terms with the fact that, you know, for one thing, like, he could not keep Robbie in the dark forever, and Robbie was a smart kid. He did question all the things that didn't add up and all the things that were worth questioning. And for another thing, like, you know, I think I initially figured, like, you know, when he said he knew what the secret was, I figured, wait, does he actually mean he knows that he's the Ghost Rider, or does he just mean that, oh, he thinks he goes out and beats people up and then comes home later at night with blood on his hands? But no, he thought because he was taken into S.H.I.E.L.D., he thought, oh, Robbie must be like a secret, you know, like a secret agent or something. So Daisy then played along with that and tried to hype that up, but then, you know, Gabe could sense that Robbie wasn't really buying the entire thing, because again, like they had to hide, but then, you know, like Daisy and stuff was a whole different thing. So then Robbie eventually came to the conclusion that, you know, he couldn't keep lying to Gabe anymore. And for another thing, Gabe deserved better than that. Gabe was old enough and involved enough with all this to know the truth about why he was picked up from his house by Daisy and then brought onto a S.H.I.E.L.D. Well, brought onto the bus, and then hidden underneath the bus, underneath the Quinjet, underneath the bus, in a containment module. So he deserved better than that, and Robbie realized that, and then he eventually sat down and gave both Robbie and Daisy the true story, the full-length true story and everything. So yeah, I mean, with Robbie, because he was directly involved in that car accident, he had some sense of an idea of what happened, but, you know, that could have been what happened to him too. Like, he saw someone who saved his brother and saved him, because like they did actually drag him out of the car too, and he was still paralyzed, but they did actually drag him out of the burning car, and they actually saved Robbie too. So Robbie, I mean, yeah, like I think that you know, was established by Robbie to be one of the most stressful and one of the most hardest nights of his life. Like him, you know, feeling so carefree and happy to then and you know, convinced that he was going to win that street race, that he actually, you know, offered to bring Gabe along to celebrate that victory and cherish that kind of glory. But and then in the end, they were ambushed on the road and then sent flying off the edge, bouncing off the edge of a bridge, and, you know, stuff like that. So things really did not go their way, and it was brutal too. It was brutal watching it, like knowing it wasn't just a car crash. Like the guy, like, you know, 2 lanes over, did actually reach out with like a mini SMG and just fire a few bullets and get Robbie definitely got hit. Actually, he actually raised his arm to try and protect Robbie, and to protect Gabe even, and he actually got hit. But then Gabe still got hit with a bunch of bullets, and then for added measure, he actually got paralyzed once the car toppled over and everything. So seeing that was actually pretty hard, and just not easy to watch. Just knowing like exactly what they went through, and like knowing that was the accident that changed both of their lives forever and everything. So that was tough, but yeah. Then I think the fact that it wasn't just like a quick sequence of events. Like first they showed us like Robbie's kind of version of how he remembered how things went down, and then Gabe's even. First they showed us Gabe's version, and then Robbie was like, okay, now here's how it really happened, and here not only is here what happened to me, but here's also what really happened. So he actually remembers, he remembers actually being flung out the car while it was actually toppling, and he got flown like 10-20 feet into the air, and he was spinning in the air, and even in that moment when we see the slow-mo, he narrated how in that moment, in that split second, he was, just throwing out, just mentally projecting, like, prayers and everything, like, begging to anyone who would listen, to any god, any deity at all, any higher power that would listen, that, he was willing to, like, to actually spare his life and keep him safe. Like, I think he knew, like, from that alone, he remembers Gabe having been shot, but then he knows that from that car toppling alone, he would, sustain more injuries, so he's, just begging that, like, not only begging for them to actually save his life and to spare him and to keep him alive and everything, but also that he would do anything to make sure that happened. So, that is a Ghost Rider-esque deal. That is a very much a Ghost Rider and Mephisto-esque kind of deal. Like, you suffer a great tragedy, and then you give anything you can. You give your soul. Like, like Mephisto's really not the kind of guy to come along and mug you in return. Like, he's not. He has no use for money. He's not gonna ask you to pay him like $10 to to save your friend or family's life. So for him, his currency is his souls. His currency is human souls. So he sent the Ghost Rider to collect on that deal, to turn Robbie into the Ghost Rider. So he was flung, and then he, in that split second, he was doing it, and then he came swinging down to the ground again and breaking some bones in the process and everything. And he was dead. He said he was dead. He actually did die, or at least he was maybe clinically dead, or like on the brink of death, like still seeing like some kind of light in the at the end of like some kind of really long tunnel. But then another person passed him by in that tunnel and pulled him away from the light. So there's another Ghost Rider. There is another Ghost Rider in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I almost hate them, but I love them at the same time for not showing us an actual human face. Because it's like, it would be so much easier. Because that way it's so much easier. Like, I think they already put so much time and effort into casting Gabriel Luna as Robbie Reyes and actually building up his character and building him up as the Ghost Rider and as Robbie Reyes. But then hiring someone else to play an actual character would have been, it would have actually led to more, like, it would have been a bit like Season 3, where it, like, led to more kind of empty promises of, like, extra stories and side spin-offs and everything, but then in the end it never really happened because of creative differences or whatever. So instead they go for the easiest route. They probably go for, like, a stunt double or something, and then just had to CGI their face into a flame-red skull. So, but then for the fans, for the people who actually consume the stories, we know, oh, that's another Ghost Rider. There's another Ghost Rider. There's now already another Ghost Rider. Even before Robbie, there's another Ghost Rider in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and he was the one. That was the one that because then I don't know if that's actually meant to be Johnny Blaze. I think I'm gonna go back, right. I think even I love that they differentiate the designs too. Like the actual skull on fire design looks so different too. Like with Robbie's, we see like how he gets transformed, but yeah, I think like we see that is such a different design. Like I think it looks different, at least anyway. It looks pretty different. Yeah, it was the devil. Yeah, it looks pretty different. It looks, I think this one. This one, right? It looks more like an actual solidified skull. Like with Robbie's one, it looks like you can tell it's a bit more CGI with the skull. Like it's not like an actual. But this one, it looks like an actual more bony human skull. So yeah, there's another Ghost Rider. Is this Johnny Blaze? Is this actually Johnny Blaze? I'm not okay. Like I'm not naive. I'm not expecting it to be Nicolas Cage that they just snuck back in to the MCU without anyone knowing and expected no one to tell the difference. I know it's not going to be Nicolas Cage, but is it Johnny Blaze? Is it him? Is it Johnny Blaze? Is it one of the first Ghost Riders? Because I think I don't know. Again, I'm not sure how the order. I think Robbie would have to come after this one, because I think first it was the guy on the horseback. And then he mentored John. I think at least in the movie, he mentored Johnny Blaze, and then he was the one on the bike. So then, going from a horse to a bike to a car, that would be cool. So I think so Johnny Blaze one of the more long-term and more kind of seasoned and experienced Ghost Riders. He is the one who comes along with the Devil's promise, with the Devil's deal, and he delivers. He saves Robbie and Gabe's life in exchange for. So I think he kind of passed it on to him, right? Because then that would mean, he could have passed it on in the sense that he actually shares the Ghost Rider spirit with Robbie without giving up his own, so he can't give up his own, or he doesn't give up his own from whatever accord. But then he also does grant to Robbie the same powers. So I think, because I think even then it's like, Robbie's narration when he was on the floor was, like a voice asked him, are you willing to do anything or to give anything to save yours and your brother's life? Are you willing to exact vengeance and justice upon those who have wronged your brother? Are you willing to do this, to be the spirit of vengeance, to do this kind of job, and to, be judge, jury, and executioner in the most hellish way possible? And so he said yes, and then the Ghost Rider comes along and says, yep, just another one to add to the new hero roster. Welcome to the party, pal. But yeah, that's Die Hard. That's Die Hard. Yeah, I've been watching quite a bit of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, so yeah, excuse me. But no, this is, I think this must be Johnny Blaze, because he's on a bike. Johnny is on a bike. Johnny, I think that should have been my first clue. Yeah, I think thinking about that should have been my first clue. Johnny is the one who has the bike. Johnny has the bike and he has the leather jacket. So Johnny Blaze, Johnny freaking Blaze. Oh god damn it, God. I think this kind of thing, right? This kind of thing right here warrants at least a Disney Plus Ghost Rider spin-off, because I think this is like season 4 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so it's way back when. I think someone actually pointed out on like a previous reaction that this that one of the episodes of, or at least like this portion of the season takes place in like late 2016, which is around the time that Doctor Strange came out, so it actually does line up with the Darkhold being here and also missing from the Sanctorum's library as a whole too. So I think it actually lines up. It actually lines up timeline wise with that. So I think with season 4 being 2016, that's not too long ago. That's really not. It's like a few years, So yeah, but then I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. moved on from that anyway. Like they went to season 5 and 6, and then the final one 7. Oh my god, I've only got 3 seasons left to go. Oh god, okay, that just hit me. That just hit me. I've only got 3 seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. left. Oh, I'm not ready to say goodbye. I'm not ready to say goodbye to this show. I love it. Oh god, I said it out loud and it just hit so different. It's like when you say something in your mind and it seems okay, but when you say it out loud, it's actually you breathe it into life. You actually breathe a new thought into life, and it hits you like a ton of bricks. It becomes an actual reality. I've only got 3 seasons of this show left to go. Wow, I have come so far. I'm not ready to say goodbye to this. I'm not. I mean, when you have awesomeness like this, how can you say goodbye? How can you say goodbye to a show like this when... Oh, my god. Okay, I need to move on from this point before I turn into an ugly crying mess, because I can ugly cry. I can definitely ugly cry, and that is not something I want to subject any of you to. But it'll probably happen. I mean, it's already happened on the channel before, but maybe in this show, maybe one day, I don't know. But the finale, the series finale, I'll be ugly crying like a little bitch on that. So well, not like a little bitch, but I'll just be ugly crying to hell and back. So yeah, anyway, 3 seasons. Anyway, moving on from that, okay, so yes, but yeah, I mean, it's moved on from season 4, so I think I'm hoping that they actually left the whole Ghost Rider story on like a peaceful and satisfiable note. I mean, knowing them, they probably left it open-ended, being like, oh, will we do a crossover? Will we not do a crossover? Stick around and find out. And then it's like 4 or 5 years later, and it's like, yeah, what's up? Well, let's have some Disney Plus stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Disney Plus stuff is amazing, but I think this also shows. I think before Disney Plus, it's like I think we had like the Netflix Marvel shows, and then we all know how that ended. I think we had like Hulu, like Runaways, and I think Cloak and Dagger, and I think what was something else? I think there was something else as well. Was it like on Hulu? Like there was Runaways, there was Cloak and Dagger, and wasn't there another Marvel show on Hulu? I'm not sure. I think I'm vaguely remembering another Marvel show. I think on Hulu. Wait, no, was it on Hulu? I the one with the X, the one with the mutants, not the New Mutants. That's a movie. That's a movie. I think it actually did come out on Fox. I think it was Legion. That's it, Legion. I actually back in the day, I remember I did like a couple of reactions to that, but I never really got into it too well, so I just kind of stopped. But I think Legion had something to do with the X-Men, and then The Gifted. That was it. The Gifted. I think that might have been on Hulu. Maybe The Gifted. I think that could have been. Or if it was Mutants, then I think that might have been on Fox. I think Fox had the X-Men and Mutants and Fantastic Four, right? So yeah, so there was The Gifted. I can't remember if that was on Hulu or Fox, but I think Legion was definitely on Fox, I believe. And then we had Runaways and Cloak and Dagger. Both of those. I mean, I haven't watched Cloak and Dagger yet because it's not on Disney Plus, but Runaways seasons 2 and 1 are on Disney Plus. It's great. That's a great show. Also tried to do reactions to that, but then didn't really get too far into it. I think I actually did binge watch that in my own time, and it was great. Such a great watch, but I can't wait until season 3 comes on, and then Cloak and Dagger, hopefully, so I can watch those too. And then the Marvel Netflix ones. But yeah, point being, before Disney Plus, we had all these other kind of independent streaming services and kind of creatives kind of taking in the rights and helping Marvel distribute their TV shows. But now we have Disney Plus. Disney has I think pretty much all their rights back. I mean, some of them are iffy, some of them are not, but I think for the most part they have all their rights back. So now Disney Plus opens up, opens up the playground for like a Marvel Netflix revival, like a new seasons for them. We have like a potential for like a Ghost Rider TV show if they want to go down that path too. Like, this is the kind of thing, and like a Ghost Rider TV show could eventually lead into a movie too. Like that could very much be a possible thing. Like the same way WandaVision leads into Doctor Strange 2. It's all possible. It's all so much more possible now. But I think for one thing, because of how far back it was, and also because of how distant the creatives behind Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and MCU, and then the larger MCU actually were. I don't know if they'd actually be willing to come back to this, or if they just kind of, or if they feel like this is dead. I mean, this is not dead weight. This is, this is modern art. This is modern art in terms of storytelling. This show is my life, my blood, and my soul. So, if I've actually heard that there's been rumors that they're actually considering doing like a new Agents of show, but with some characters from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I don't know how true that is. I don't know if I should just take that with a grain of salt or something. But I've heard that it's actually something that they've been considering doing, like actually continuing some character stories into like a new kind of Agents of show. So like maybe it wasn't going to be a S.H.I.E.L.D. show because they clarified that the story of S.H.I.E.L.D. ended with season 7. But I think we have like Sword now. I think we have Sword. Sword was introduced in WandaVision, so we could have Agents of Sword. Maybe that could be a thing. Without Hayward, I hate that fucker. I don't want Hayward in Agents of Sword. I don't care if he's the former director now because he's going to prison. But either way, Agents of Sword could be a thing. But no, either way, I think a Ghost Rider TV show could definitely be a thing if they decide to come back to this, and it would be a cool thing to see too. And I think Ghost Rider could definitely be one of the characters they bring in to Phase 4 or even 5. I think Phase 4, so like most of the characters have already been pretty solidified, and then I think if they were going to do Ghost Rider for Phase 4, they would have confirmed it by now. But Phase 5, they can bring Ghost Rider back in, they can bring Robbie Reyes in, maybe introduce a new Johnny Blaze, or if they're going to do the multiverse, bring in Nicolas Cage again, bring him back. But this is cool. Seeing that, I think this is pretty valid proof. Like, he has a bike and a leather jacket. The only Ghost Rider we know that can do that, or at least I personally know that can do that, or like that has that kind of attire and presence, is Johnny Blaze. So this is proof we have Johnny Blaze, Ghost Rider in the MCU, and he helped convert Robbie Reyes into the next Ghost Rider. So again, I think that might have been what happened. He still is the Ghost Rider, but then he actually picks a new Ghost Rider too. Because I think even when Johnny was the Ghost Rider in the movie, the horse guy still maintained his own Ghost Rider powers, and he still had his horse that could actually turn into like a skeletal fiery horse too. So he still had his thing, even though Johnny became the Ghost Rider in the next generation. So I think whatever happens, each generation will have a Ghost Rider of its own. But then the previous generation of Ghost Riders still kind of stick around. They still do their own thing. and stuff. So yeah, I just imagine like depending on how many Ghost Riders there are in the comics, and or how many Ghost Riders they decide to introduce into the MCU in the future. I just imagine one day there's going to be a movie like Endgame, or like a scene like the portal scene in Endgame, but it's going to be nothing but Ghost Riders from from various generations, maybe even alternate universe Ghost Riders, or different types of Ghost Riders just coming out of different portals, or ready to take on Mephisto. That would be that would be the Avengers Endgame of the Ghost Rider story, just Ghost Rider Endgame, just, like Ghost Riders coming out of portals, and Mephisto and an army of like demons or something, or like whatever little minions he has behind him, and just that kind of thing. That would be cool to see. But yeah, anyway, Johnny Blaze, he's a thing, and he helped convert Robbie. I've mentioned that like 3 times now, and that I just lead into attention each time. But yeah, he resurrected him. He resurrected Robbie and gave him those powers. And I think again, I'm curious to know where he's at now, where Johnny's at. And he's the good Samaritan about it. He's the one that Gabe declared the good Samaritan, because he stopped by. He helped save Gabe's life, and then he helped resurrect Robbie too, and stuff like that. So that's uber cool. That is uber cool. That is super duper cool. That's pretty damn cool. And then yeah, there was the eventual actual Ghost Rider reveal to Gabe. Him actually revealing. I think he broke out. So the Ghost Rider. So yeah. So I think for one thing, the containment module is in dire need of an upgrade, because now they have discovered that they can't hold the Ghost Rider. I don't know why, looking back, I find that so funny. I think watching in the moment, it was definitely badass watching him break out. I think he even lashed out inside the containment module first, and then he Ghost Ridered out. I don't know how to, I mean, for Hulk you would say he hulked out, but I think I don't know what kind of verb to use for Ghost Rider, but he saying lashed out feels weird, because we actually did have a character called Lash, but he actually Ghost Ridered out in front of Robbie, and actually in front of Gabe even, and actually showed him the whole head turning into a flaming skull thing, and Robbie and Gabe was understandably shocked, like, whoa, my brother's head just blows up into a ball of bony flames and stuff, and then he actually just punches his way out of the door, and he comes out again. So that whole scene was intense as all hell, and he went toe to toe with Mace. He Ghost Rider fought Jeffrey Mace. I mean, yeah, again, good thing for Mace. He's an Inhuman. So he can take it. I mean, I was half expecting him to. I was half expecting him to at least have like a broken or bloody nose by the end of it, but he didn't have that. He didn't have so much as a bruise. He just looked like he was actually taking hits, and his Inhuman kind of regenerative capabilities or whatever were actually working overtime to actually take hits from a hellish hell beast. I mean, hey, Hunter claims that Bobby was a demonic hell beast. Wait till they should have stuck around. They should have stuck around for season 4. Then Hunter. I would love to see how Hunter reacts to meeting Ghost Rider. Like, wow, I thought my wife was a demonic hell beast, but now I've just met you. So that definitely puts things into perspective. But no, yeah, his I think Mace's Inhuman kind of biology must have been working extra hard to actually have to fend off any kind of cellular damage from an actual Ghost Rider hit, because they actually punched and stuff. I thought he didn't have any chains. I thought he must have. I thought maybe he could actually try and turn his hands into a flamethrower and maybe burn his suit off or something. But no, he just went for the good old fashioned fist fighting and everything, and he actually managed to pin Mace against the kind of barrier, and just keep punching, and Mace wasn't blocking. He was just doing that and stuff. So Ghost Rider put up a fight. Ghost Rider himself, I think that was not entirely Robbie. I think it wasn't Robbie until the very end. Until the very end, it wasn't Robbie. That was mostly Ghost Rider. Actually, that was I think especially like his even his words inside the containment module being like it's not me, it's the other guy. The other guy actually wants out. He doesn't like being caged up and stuff like that. So he then turned into Ghost Rider, and then Ghost Rider used his own powers to break out and then go toe to toe with Mace and everything. So yeah, that fight scene was cool. I want to see. I think it was very, very minimalistic combat. I think most of the actual Ghost Rider power combat we've seen is him versus the Ghost, but I'd like to see what else he has. I think he's had some stuff against James too, like the chains we've seen a bit of. I think again, combat wise, we haven't really seen a whole lot. I think it's also good to see a balance. Like like he needs to use his powers against more supernatural and more kind of powered entities like James and the Ghost. But then, and to be fair, Mace is also enhanced. He's an Inhuman with like strength and more kind of like he's like the like the man of metal of some kind, Man of Steel. I want to avoid using that term, but no, he's kind of someone like the Man of Steel in this kind of in this story too. So he's that. But he can take hits. So then goes for like full on punch, and we've seen his punches can do some damage. He actually punched Daisy in I think it was like the second or third episode, and she took a hit from him and got knocked down and everything. So he can deliver hits. He can deliver hard hits. He can deliver like super strength hits and stuff. So I don't believe Simmons has come into contact with the Ghost Rider yet. So I think if she ever meets him, or if she ever just walks into a room and Ghost Rider, I want her to be the one who just immediately resorts to using throwing like a bucket of water over his head, thinking that's gonna do something. But yeah, and I mean wishful thinking probably, but either way, it would be cool to see how that interaction goes down. I think he's met almost all the team now. He's met Fitz, he's met Coulson, Mac, Daisy, he's met Mace. Now he's met the new director. And he's also met. He has not met Simmons. I don't think. No. Has he? He has met. He has met Simmons. He met Simmons in the James episodes. I mean, yeah. I think she hasn't seen his skull. She hasn't seen his skull. She's met Robbie. She's met Robbie, but she hasn't actually seen his flaming skull kind of look, that appearance. But he's actually met Robbie. So I mean, he's met most of them. He hasn't met May yet. He's yet to meet May, I believe. I think he's yet to meet May. So. Yeah, very nearly everyone. So that is cool. But yeah, the ending to that fight scene took a very, very emotional turn. Coulson and the others kind of calling out for him to stop beating up their director didn't really do much. But then in the end, Robbie was the one who still kind of, even in that moment, he knew his brother was in there and he tried to appeal to that. But then, even knowing that he could bring his brother out wasn't enough. Like knowing that this was who his brother had become, knowing this was what his brother had become, was a lot for him to handle, and you can't blame him. But I think what hurt even more was I think probably that scene inside the containment module, like him being like, don't put their blood on my hands. Like I never asked you to take that deal. I never asked you to go out killing people. I never asked you to do this. I think like knowing him, he probably found it cooler when he thought he was like a secret agent, what's his name? Daniel Craig. No, Daniel. He's the actor. Why can't I remember his name? He's one of the most famous secret agents in the world. James Bond. That's it. Like a Hispanic James Bond or something, or like a Latino James Blonde. James Blonde. No, like a James Bond. I think Robbie's Latino, right? I think Latino or Hispanic. I don't know which term would be more applicable, more appropriate here. But either way, he's like that kind of James Bond. So I think he found it kind of cooler when it was that. But then actually finding out that he's the Ghost Rider, I think he's heard about the Ghost Rider too. He's actually heard about the Ghost Rider. I think he's aware that it was a ghost. I think he's now aware that it was the Ghost Rider who saved Robbie, and now the Robbie has become the Ghost Rider now too. And I think he's heard of those kind of those kind of street legends too, like the Ghost Rider that hunts down people and kills them, and he hunts down criminals and gang members and kills them and burns them and everything. So knowing that it's now who Robbie is, like I think knowing about the Ghost Rider and Robbie are two different things, but then knowing that they both are the same person, or at least that they inhabit the same body, is a very different kind of thought to have to process, and actually seeing his brother lash out, and then seeing his brother actually go up against another guy and practically beat the crap out of him and everything is a very different thing. So he's feeling some ways. He's feeling very, very. I think I want to say neutral, but I think it's clear. I think it's clear that in the moment, like from the get go, he's not really going to take it too well. So I think him reacting this way emotionally, honestly, only makes sense. It only really makes sense. I think it would be nice to see him embracing Robbie's new identity, but then actually finding out that Robbie is the Ghost Rider after learning and knowing about what the Ghost Rider himself has done is a very different thing. Again, it's a very different thought to have to process. So So yeah, so then afterwards he was just like, just get me out of here. I just want to go home. Just get me back to my life. I want to go live my life again, like stuff like that. So he's not the happiest kid in the world, knowing what's gone down and having seen it firsthand. So it's not the easiest thing. It's not the easiest thing to handle. So yeah. And then afterwards, we find out that Joseph was actually the one that hired the thugs. So I think the thugs themselves must have still been the Fifth Street Locos gang members, but they were hired by Joseph, and not originally to take out Gabe and Robbie. I think because the Charger was originally Eli's. I think even Robbie even mentioned that to Gabe in the flashback. That it was actually it was the car that Eli bought, but he never used it because he was always working. So, I think Joseph must have known at least that Eli actually had a Charger, so told him to target that. But then they didn't know that Gabe and Robbie would be the ones inside that car. So he did it. So then that ties into the much bigger thing where it's actually the twist I never would have seen coming. It was Eli all along. It was Eli all along. I didn't get that. That was so far off tune. Ignore I said that. I mean, it was Eli all along. Yeah, not in the way that it was Agatha all along. I mean, not really. I think kind of in the way. I think not really. Kind of, sort of, maybe. Yes, no. I don't know. Just went from point A to point C, D, F, G, H, I, yeah. Just, I think that is a twist I never would have actually seen coming. In the way that it doesn't necessarily feel like they actually built him up to be that kind of guy. Because again, it is kind of. It definitely feels more like, again, like he was. I think even the way I mean there could have been lies in the way that he explained it to Robbie when they were in prison. Him saying that he was brought on by the team as like a somewhat lower level electrical engineer that they needed to work and ask no questions and stuff like that. But then from the beginning, even in those flashbacks from the beginning, we see that he actually is curious about how, because they made carbon out of nothing. Their first creation was carbon and stuff. So he was curious about as to how that happened and how there was more energy after the creation than there was before, and how the storage chamber used. I think I'm gonna have to go back and actually rewatch that scene, but even then I might only have a rudimentary understanding of exactly what goes on in that, because it's quantum mechanics and all that jazz. I think he still knew enough about I think he said it messed with I think he said the third rule, or I think he said the third rule, or the third law of thermodynamics. So I'm vaguely aware of what that is. I think it's to do with creation, right? I think it's actually to do with with the existence of energy itself. Energy itself can't I think it's actually, isn't it energy can't be created or destroyed, it can only be discovered. So it changes. I think it's I think they even actually explored it in Justice League in the Snyder Cut. In the Snyder Cut they even explain that using the laws of thermodynamics to actually explain the motherboard. So particles and energy can't be changed, but the way that energy exists and the way that it transforms, the transformation is a change. So chemical to kinetic and stuff like that. But then the dark code literally gives them the knowledge and the power to create a machine that then messes with that law of dynamics and actually allows them to use energy to create something out of nothing. I think they're literally so then it's made out of energy. So they are literally creating something with energy. They're literally creating energy out of energy. So, again, I'm only 40 or 50% sure that could be a somewhat accurate way to describe it. So I am not in any way a qualified scientist. So if that wasn't obvious enough, but yeah. So I think that's the way it currently makes sense to me. But if there's a better explanation that any of you watching have, comments are open. Please leave leave your perspectives and explanations down there, and I can hopefully understand better. But either way, the basic gist is that this machine literally kind of interferes with one of the one of the laws of thermodynamics, and it's I mean the laws of thermodynamics in itself, they seem like pretty entry level kind of requirements for messing with engineering or quantum physics or anything like that. Like it seems like pretty much like basic-ish stuff you'd have to understand before you start messing with actual machinery and, you know, power science and stuff like that. So like, you know, like don't go into this field of research thinking that you can create like a new form of energy, because you can't. That is one of the most basic laws of energy that you will have to have to understand. That you can't create it. You can only discover it or observe how it changes from one state to another, or something like that. So yeah, but then the Darkhold actually allowed him to create carbon using so that was the quantum particle generator. I think, yeah, I don't know why, right? Like when they said create stuff out of matter, my mind went to the most extensive of things. Like I was thinking, wow, so you could make a machine that creates food. I don't know why. I immediately think of the most extensive and most far-reach things. Like you could technically, I mean, you could model it into a fridge, and you could literally design it so that it would create food at your mercy. Like you type something into a keyboard, and you'd open the door, and then there would be like a pizza or a burger, or, you know, just junk food, or even apple, like fruits and veg. Like I don't know why my mind immediately jumps to stuff like that instead of like, oh great, a piece of carbon. I mean, sure, that's also amazing to see that you managed to create that without, because I think carbon itself is, I can't remember how carbon is created. I think it's to do with like compressing something, isn't it, or like crushing something, or like you actually have to crush something so much, like rocks or minerals or something, and then you actually get like a. Oh wait, no, is that diamonds? Am I thinking of diamonds? Am I thinking of diamonds or I think carbon? I'm not sure. I might have to look that one up. I mean, carbon itself seems pretty basic, but I think I might be thinking of diamonds. Like you crush or compress something so much, and then you actually get like a diamond out of it. So yeah, I'm not. I think I might be thinking of diamonds, but carbon, I'm not sure how that comes to be, or even if you know. I'm pretty sure it can exist. It can be harnessed in a physical form, maybe, but you know, because then if not, then this is also kind of, you know, messing with the laws of carbon creation and stuff. So I don't know, but either way, he managed to do it. And over the course of the episode, over the course of more flashbacks, we see. I think the one true thing that's actually remained, the one true thing we see from the beginning of the season that's actually remained true is that Joseph himself was obsessed. But what we didn't find out until now was that Eli also became obsessed. So he then hatched a plan. I think, I mean, he said it took months and years of planning, being in prison and everything. So he actually also hatched a plan to take out Joseph and then to get into prison. And then his time in prison allowed him to think even more about what he was going to do and how he was going to do it, and also what he would do once he got his hands back on the Darkhold again. So yeah, I think the twist with Eli I never saw coming, because I think then again, like I think right up until the very end, right up until that twist, and we saw like another flashback, they never like explicitly showed Eli himself actually wanting that power. It just, I mean, yeah, I think, because even up until now, I feel like they've always portrayed him as like a family man, like despite not being their father, he was still Gabe and Robbie's uncle. He still kind of looked after them. He still took them in. He still raised them as his own sons, and still tried to be a family man. But he never really. I think even the way he described himself, even though that could have been a lie, he always seemed like the kind of guy who was worried about other people achieving god level power. But then, you know, in the end, it's clear that, you know, like Joseph was obsessed with the power, but then that obsession also kind of somewhat infected Eli too, and he wanted that power. And I think. Yeah, and I think that's also more of like a maybe somewhat more of a clue as to what the Darkhold's capable of. So like the Darkhold itself, like because of what it contains, it also, you know, it also kind of contains a power of its own. It also contains like the ability to infect other people, to influence other people with its existence, like the existence and the kind of abilities of the Darkhold, and manipulate other people into wanting the Darkhold for themselves, so that it like infects more and more people into wanting it. It starts these kinds of fights and everything, and this one literally ended with murder and stuff. So yeah, and then yeah, by the end of it, Eli goes into the machine. He reveals the truth to. I mean, Coulson deduces the truth from his own entrance into the machine, and then Eli activates the machine, and yeah, that ending. So. Yeah, well, I mean, two different things about that ending, like about the last 10 minutes at least. Eli turning on the machine and Eli using the machine sent out a shockwave that seemingly it made Coulson and Fitz vanish because they were the only ones still underground. Like Mac had actually gone above ground because the comms had been cut off, so he needed to go get the EMP from the bus and bring that back down. So the only other people underground at that time were then Eli, who was safely in the machine, and then Coulson and Fitz. What happened to Coulson and Fitz? Where are my boys at? What happened to Coulson and Fitz? I don't know if he absorbed them, if they're inside him somehow, or if they were like wiped out by the machine, or if they were like because like that machine, I think. Because I think Lucy actually mentioned that machine was actually designed by Joseph himself, and he wanted to turn himself into a quantum particle generator. He wanted to have unlimited power. He wanted to be able to generate matter using his own hands. He wanted to be able to wish things into existence using his own hands and his own body. So he didn't want to have to keep relying on like a clunky machines every time. He wanted to become a quantum particle generator himself. So then Eli went in, and he's the one and only recipient. So I think Eli even admitted that he actually beat the crap out of Joseph himself before he could use the machine. So Eli is the first person the machine has actually been used on. So he used it. So I think. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that would do to Coulson and Fitz if that would actually take them into him, or if that would like wipe them out, or like did it send them somewhere else? Did it send them did it teleport them, or did it I don't know what it must have done, but it did something. It did something. So yeah, now Eli is the new villain. He's got and then he has powers now. I think he created carbon. He actually managed to create something that looked like liquidy and slimy and stuff, and then eventually kind of solidified more into carbon and whatnot. So he has the powers of generating quantum particles, or like quantumly generating. I don't know. He has the powers of the quantum particle generator machine. So he is now a quantum particle generator himself. So we don't know if he has unlimited power, but he has power. He does indeed have power, so it'll be interesting to see how they stop him. But also, I think that kind of twist is just like, I think it doesn't even feel like a Ward twist. Like I was gonna say, like with Ward, they actually kind of strung us along, making us believe he was a good guy. But then even then, like with Ward, there were sprinkles along in previous episodes that actually led up to that being such a great and surprising reveal in the end. But then with Eli, I don't know, like it genuinely doesn't feel like they've actually built him up to be that villain until the very end. Until the very end, it was actually revealed that he actually had evil intentions all along. He purposefully killed the other members, and then and then he actually then threw Lucy in there too, and then he actually did something. Yeah, I don't know if I might have to go back and check that first episode, but I don't even know if I don't even remember if Lucy herself actually mentioned to the other scientists that that Eli was the one that did this. I don't know if she actually mentioned a guy or like another man or someone being involved with their deaths like this, but she definitely did mention that she admitted that the Darkhold was responsible, but also that she could actually use the Darkhold to resurrect them, pretty much. So yeah, but I think it definitely feels like that reveal was safe until the end, and then even then in that reveal, it was actually Lucy revealing the truth to Robbie before he killed her, and then extra killed her, and then the further flashbacks showing Eli wanting that power from the Darkhold, and then actually killing Lucy the same way he killed the other team members. So yeah, I think it feels like somewhat last minute. And then it's like, oh, surprise, Eli was the villain all along. So now you got to face an Eli with the ability to create stuff at random from his own will and stuff like that. So I don't know. It just feels a bit weird, I won't lie, but it also feels kind of last minute. But either way, I guess we'll go forward and see how it fits out, and see how it turns out. So yeah, and yeah, if it wasn't clear, I love Fitz. Like Fitz calling, I think Fitz calling someone like a hypothetical someone, or like a physical, like a material someone. Fitz calling someone like a total wanker in this show. It's not. That is the Scottish energy from that Scottish bean. I did not know that this show would give me, or the energy that I'd like. It's the energy I did not know I actually wanted from this show. It's the energy that the show gave me. I didn't know I wanted. Fitz calling someone a total wanker. I think he also was in like I think he said it somewhat more like content appropriately. Not to say that it wasn't appropriate here, but he like context appropriately. Even he said it in like a movie. He was in a movie with Karen Gillan, I think, about like writing or something. I can't remember what it was called, but I watched that movie like once when it first came out, not knowing who the hell Ian DeCastigal was, because I'd never. I think that was long before. I still remember knowing about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. back then, maybe like being somewhat aware of it, but not knowing who, but having no idea who the hell was in it. So I didn't know Ian DeCastigal was actually from Marvel too. I think that must have come around the time Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was out. So yeah, but thinking back to it now, it's like, oh wow, Amy Pond actually met Leopold Fitz. Damn, that is wow. So we actually had like a Marvel and Doctor Who crossover that we always wanted. But no, Ian was in that too, and he actually did have like a scene where he actually called someone a wanker, and then he's also like a teaching assistant or like a professor of some kind, and he has to reassure his students that he didn't actually say a wanker. And it's a funny thing, like watch the movie. It's actually like a funnier scene that I'm actually giving justice to right now. But him saying the words total wanker or at least him saying the word wanker in this show is the energy I did not know I needed. So Fitz is unequivocally Scottish. He is, undeniably and proudly and somewhat related. I say somewhat related, but yeah, somewhat relatively Scottish. He's definitely British. He's definitely relatively British. So yeah, him and Simmons. Fitzsimmons are the relatable British hot beans that we need in this show. But yeah, and yes, they are hot beans. They are both incredibly hot beans. Why beans? I don't know why. I think Bobby Beans is usually referred to call someone like more cute and adorable. They're both incredibly hot people. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, when they're adorable, which is all the time, but then when they're cute, they're also beans and hot beans. I don't know. That doesn't really sound like the best combination of descriptions. But they're both incredibly hot people. They really very much are. So. Yeah, anyway, where was I? Where was I? Just kind of moving on from my thirsting over Fitzsimmons. But yeah, well, yeah, Fitz, the wanker line. I don't know why I wrote that down. It literally just it made me laugh really hard in the actual reaction. I just felt like, oh, I have to write this down. It's a really noteworthy point, but it's really not. It's just me saying how funny I found it, and then talking about him and Simmons and Anyway, what else is that I can talk about? I'm not really sure. I didn't really write a whole lot down this episode besides from the Ghost Rider stuff and besides from the experiment stuff with Joseph and everything. Doesn't really feel like a whole lot else went down. It felt pretty kind of contained to a bit of backstory on how Robbie got his powers, which was really cool, and a bit more on Ghost Rider versus the ghosts and versus not the writer but the director and everything. So yeah, it was fun. It was fun to see how these different events unfolded and how these interactions lined up and exactly what happened from there. So it was cool. It was super cool. But yeah, I think also tying back into that last 10 minutes of the ending. So I think May has the dark hold. I mean, May took the dark hold. She took the dark hold, and then I think she was actually coming back with Mac, who was bringing the EMP from the Black Eye episode. So he actually managed to snag one of those and bring them back. So that was cool. But Coulson had May take the Darkhold back, so that is now in possession of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I am really curious to see where they go with that. If they actually do lock it up, or if they actually do, or if they like it. If someone is tempted enough, because they still don't know how it works. So like they still don't know that it actually analyzes you, or like how it works, or what kind of information it gives you. They don't know how extensive its power or its knowledge is. So they have no idea what a person has to do in order to read it. So I'm kind of expecting, like there being like one or maybe two people there to kind of analyze what it is and to see what it can do. And so they open it and they maybe wear like a hazmat suit and gloves or something to make sure it's not infected, nothing infectious. But then, but then one thing leads to another. They both get knowledge, and they end up, like learning more from this book than they ever did, from the past 5-10 years of training and whatever. Like, I feel like it could possibly be Fitzsimmons to open the book. Like Fitzsimmons, again, like they're trained scientists and everything, and I think they could be the ones who are trusted to actually open the book and analyze it, and it would show them science that, again, they've only really ever dreamed of, and it could show them science that they've never thought would be possible with limited Earth resources. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. I really want to see Fitzsimmons be the ones opening it and like see exactly what kind of science and knowledge they unlock, and seeing exactly what kind of stuff that they want to know about. Because I think that much is clear. It tells you what you want to know about what you want to create. Like if you're already like a qualified scientist, then you already like have a clue as to where to start looking. So then it reads your mind, answers your questions for you, and gives you the information you need. So for that reason, I kind of want it to be them. But I'm also curious to see what kind of information it would give someone like Coulson or Daisy or Mac, like people who, Daisy is a hacker, it might still give her like computer science knowledge or something that maybe she doesn't have. But Mac and Coulson and May, like I'm curious as to what kind of information they would be given if they would open. Because I think so far we've only seen it being used to advance science. We've only seen it being used with like science, like scientific intentions in mind. I don't know what other kind of fields of life that it could actually offer you things. Because it's now teaching Wanda about sorcery, so it's clearly not limited to human science. It's clearly not limited to Earth-based or human science. It's clearly teaching Wanda about sorcery and everything. So it's very, very extensive. It's supremely extensive. So I think that makes me think that also kind of makes me want to like tie it back into the point where I think it's like Joseph or Lucy that says like, oh, it's like an incredible book, like God must have written it, and then Eli says God didn't write that thing, the devil wrote it. So I think with a name like the Darkhold and it working the way it does and it being as extensive and powerful as it is, could it possibly actually be from hell? Like could it actually be from hell? Because then again, like being what it is, it's also something that would be especially prized and possessed, and it's like a very, very valuable asset. So like it could have been taken out of hell by someone and then discovered maybe by the Sorcerer Supreme or like the Ancient One, and then it could have its own dedicated section in the Sanctum Sanctorum where it no longer is. Like it's no longer in the Sanctum. So yeah, I'm wondering like could it actually come from hell? Because again, if it's the devil, because that makes me wonder, it could be something the devil, like Mephisto himself, created to try and play around with humanity. Like, he creates a book that could literally tell you anything you ever want to know. It could literally give you any information you could ever want to know and help you further your own projects or discover new knowledge and unlock new powers and stuff like that. But then it would actually like be him just kind of maybe messing around with humanity, like taunting and teasing humanity with all these secrets and all these juicy knowledge tidbits and everything, and then watching chaos unfold as they fight over the Darkhold, and they create things that no normal person should be able to create, like the quantum particle thingy. So I feel like that could be like Mephisto creating a book and then actually screwing around with humanity, or maybe it even gets taken out of hell or escapes hell somehow, and then it finds its way to Earth and it does all this stuff and stuff. So I want to see that like the history of the Darkhold, like not just where it comes from, but how it also came to be in that basement. Like, who had it before Lucy and Joseph? Like, who lived in that house? Who buried it in the basement? Like how far down history? Because then we know it's been sought out by the Red Skull and by Daniel Whitehall and Nick Fury, but none of them have found it. So where was it during all that time? Like, who else has used it? Like how many other major things in history have happened because someone opened up and started to consume content from the Darkhold? Like just how much stuff has gone wrong in history because of the Darkhold? Like that's the kind of thing I'm curious to know if they explore, but I guess we'll see. But now it's in S.H.I.E.L.D.'s possession. Now May took it back and it's in S.H.I.E.L.D.'s possession, so now we'll just have to wait and see what S.H.I.E.L.D. does with it, if they actually lock it up or if they have someone analyze it. But yeah, that was that. And yeah, we had Mace actively searching the bus from top to bottom, looking to apprehend and arrest and convict Robbie and Daisy for what they did. So he pretty much took that. I think we still don't know what she asked for. I think they didn't show us that. I think even regardless, I think whatever it was, I think she made it clear that if she didn't get what she wanted, then the consequence would be that she would release those photos to the public, and it would affect Shield and Mace and all their reputations and everything. So I think whatever she asked for, that was enough. But then, the only actual, because I feel like if she whatever she asked for, I think I'm instinctively expecting it to be something self-serving, or like something that would help serve her or help serve the Watchdog's agenda, or something like something anti-inhuman that an Inhuman would have to do. But then I feel like that would be too on the nose, and it would feel almost clear that he was being forced to do something. So maybe it would have been apprehend Robbie and Daisy and hand them over to me, and I'll deal with them. So then, if they think he's Inhuman, because I think everyone, even Mace asking now, is he Inhuman? Everyone keeps asking if Mace is Inhuman, if Robbie is Inhuman, because the most recent powered individual contagion we've had is the Inhuman. So almost anyone with powers is now assumed Inhuman. Unless specified otherwise, which Robbie keeps on doing. He's no, for the 500th gajillionth time, I'm not an Inhuman. I made a deal with the devil, and now I have fire powers and a badass flaming skull. So that's pretty much it. So, but I think either way, knowing those are the two enhanced individuals on the scene and that they have allegiances with Shield, I feel like Nadir would have actually asked him to apprehend them and hand them over instead, or maybe even put them up on a fair trial and actually brand them as criminals. So then that would help her image too, oh, look at these dangerous enhanced individuals running around with their powers all willy-nilly, going around killing people and breaking into prisons and doing whatever they want. So now these powered individuals are dangerous, and that would help further her agenda and the Watchdog's agenda too. So that could have been all it was, or maybe even secretly helping her more personally in some way too, helping her picture in some way. But then his next immediate step that we saw was him actually boarding the bus, and he sent Gemma away somewhere. He actually sent Gemma away on a private Quinjet somewhere with a mask, she had to wear a bag over her head so she couldn't see where she was going. So it was an immediate task for her to uphold. So she had to do that, but we didn't see her after that. We did not see her at all after that. So, you know what? I'm very grateful they showed us her in a suit as one final kind of glimpse for the episode. Gemma is the kind of woman that knows how to pull off a great red jacket and a great red shirt and a great fabric navy bluish looking kind of blazer and a suit and everything. That woman is now rocking the full on boss lady look in this season. And I love them for it. I love her for it, and I love the costume department for it. I love the writers for it. They are fully embracing, boss lady Gemma Simmons kind of vibe for the season. So I'm very grateful to see that. So yeah, glad they gave us that masterpiece before we never saw her again for the rest of the episode. But that was cool. So I assume in the next episode we'll see exactly where she went and what she got up to, and maybe carrying on from the end of this story too. But Mace was insistent on actually finding them, and even in the end he managed to deduce that that they were not in the plane, they were under the plane. So then he actually managed to bring the containment module back up and catch out Daisy and Robbie and Gabe and everything. So that was that. But we see that Fitz is also. I think we've seen that some people, not everyone, has actually adapted to this new leadership or this new kind of structure of the agency as quickly as others have. I feel like Mac and Coulson just kind of go along with it for the sake of it. Gemma is in the inner circle; she has no option but to abide by these new rules, and May is doing her own thing too. But Fitz, I think even in this one, Fitz actually explicitly exclaimed that he doesn't trust the new director. He doesn't really trust this new structure of security and intel and stuff like that. So it's interesting to see how different people react to Jeffrey as a leader and as a director and as someone who's meant to kind of unify this new Shield and bring it into this new world and everything. So yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting, and I think even thinking I've been thinking more about that, right? Now I think season 2 and 3, Shield was underground, so it would make sense why the movies never mentioned them. But now Shield is literally being televisually being re-legitimized and reintroduced into the world, that the new Shield is a thing, it's out there and stuff. So I think I feel tired asking why the movies never bother to reference or mention this masterpiece of a show. But I you know what, I just, every time something new comes out, like every time I catch on to like a new detail, being like, oh hey, now like they could have definitely used Shield in this instance, or maybe they could have actually definitely referenced. I mean, they could have definitely referenced Shield coming back into the light, especially like someone like Steve or Natasha. So like Steve and Natasha having first-hand experience with the fall of the original Shield. I think it would have been somewhat relieving for them to know that, you know, even if they're on the run, then, you know, like Shield was Shield had actually come back into the world with a new director, and they were actually then doing something to help and stuff like that. But I don't know. But again, I catch onto these details, and it makes me wonder, hey, the movies could have referenced this, and then it's like, but they never did, and they likely never will, so what's the fucking point anymore? I don't know. I really don't know anymore. But either way, it was cool to see. And Mace, you know, was insistent on. I think his goal is actually, you know, keeping Shield in the air and on the ground at the same damn time. So he is kind of insistent on things going his way, and actually his word being the final word, and things going smoothly and people cooperating and everything. So he was insistent on Ghost Rider actually, you know, paying for his crimes at some point anyway. But for now, they needed to focus on their main enemies, which Coulson very eloquently established. So yeah, that was cool. But yeah, that is it. That is pretty much all I've got from this one. You know, it was a fun one. Definitely a fun one. Definitely enjoyed the backstory for Ghost Rider we got, and the backstory for like more of the team and more for Eli and stuff. And interested to see where it all goes from here. I want to see what happened. What the hell's gone on with Fitz and Coulson. I want to see where they've gotten to, what they've done with my boys there, and hopefully they're safe. Hopefully they're safe and sound. Maybe I mean, even I think, I don't know. I genuinely don't know if they've been absorbed by Eli, but even if they are, I think the only way we could see something like that is if they were like taken into his mind and they're in his head or being possessed or something. But I don't know. Either way, it did something. So now we'll have to wait and see exactly what that something is. So we'll see how the team gets them back, and we'll see how we move forward with Eli having these powers now and presumably being like the new antagonist. I think now at this point, pretty much the entire Ghost team is dead. Like they've all been wiped off the map, and their stories are over. So now Eli is the one remaining member from the original team that they have to fight, and he has powers now. So, I mean, I don't really think they're gonna limit his powers just to creating small chunks of carbon and then maybe having him like throw it at them or something. I'm pretty sure he can come up with maybe a little more than that. But either way, it'll be fun to see how his story develops and how S.H.I.E.L.D. comes up against him, and then eventually seeing S.H.I.E.L.D. actually investigating the Darkhold, and then maybe actually deciding where it should go and how it should be stored and how it should be kept safe. But it's gonna have a lot more to do. I feel like something like the Darkhold, you can't just leave it here and there. Like, it has to actually be explored. You have to actually show us the full extent of what it can do, what it's capable of, and what it can do to people, especially. Like we've seen it send Joseph and Eli, both of them, mad. So I feel like, you know, like seeing something like that happen to the team of S.H.I.E.L.D. is definitely a possibility. So I'm curious to see where that goes, and how Robbie and Gabe move forward now with this new revelation in their lives. Like Gabe knowing that Robbie is a Ghost Rider and knowing what he's capable of, knowing what he's done, and how they move forward with that. And Daisy hopefully moving back in with the team and rejoining her family and friends and everything. So hopefully it's going to be a happier, more peaceful journey. But it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so it's highly unlikely that that's the case. But either way, I look forward to the next episode. But that is it for this one. So that was Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4, Episode 6. So thank you guys once again so much for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then salt and burn that like button. Comment on what you thought of the episode and what you think is coming up next time on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Once again, the full-length reaction for this episode will be over on Patreon, so you can go check that over there. And yeah, that is it. So, I will see you next time.